Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, the numbers are in for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3. It's 114 million domestic opening and 168 million for international, so 282 million. Some people are saying 288, but I'm looking at Box Office Mojo, I'm not sure. But yeah, underwhelming, definitely underwhelming. The first film did 94 million on the opening, the second film did 146 million on the opening, which is what Mario just did, I think. 146 million was their opening, yeah. Whereas Quantum Mania did 106 million. So you're sort of seeing where perhaps Guardians is tracking. And the concern, of course, is that people are turning on or losing interest in Marvel. I can see that because they've probably had too much. I mean, we had this sort of slow build-up of movies into this big sort of end game, which is a big deal. And then afterwards it's like, well, now what? It's like, well, just stick with us and just watch our random stuff which leads nowhere, has no connection, and it's just, what you should be watching because we're Marvel. And a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I need a direction, I need a goal, I need something to follow here. So I think some people have just lost interest that way. And then also content-wise, there's so many hours of the new TV shows. There's I watched WandaVision, I did, week to week, and I lost interest. I didn't get on board any of the other shows. I haven't watched Loki, I haven't watched I don't even know what the other ones are. There's like a bunch of them. I think a lot of people are like me. They've just been like, I watched that because I thought it meant something. I thought it was part of something. And it's like, none of this is part of anything anymore. So, and I think we all felt like we were following a path. There was a purpose. We were part of something. Whereas now it's just like, well, it's just content for Marvel. And I think people lost interest there that way. Now, Mario has gone over 1 billion, which I'm a little bit surprised, and I didn't realise it was an animated film. I thought it was going to be another live-action film, just for a lot of CGI or something. And I'm like, really? It's just an animated... It's like a kid's film? Really? I didn't really realise that, because I can't imagine why they would do that. I get it's a game, it is sort of animated, so yeah, that makes sense, but they've already... Because one of the criticisms of Disney is that they're just redoing all their animated films as live-action. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you? I mean, people did animation because you couldn't do in live action what you could do in animation. Now we can with CGI. So if you could create those worlds for real, why wouldn't you do that? So I can understand why they're making live versions of all their animated films, because they've already done the animated versions. They don't want to redo the animated versions because how can you improve on perfection? So let's just do the live action versions, and people who don't like animation can have the live action versions and updated versions. It works. It makes total sense. And people act like that's sort of creative bankruptcy. I'm like, no, it's just like, why did they make the Transformers movies after the cartoons were so great? Because they could. They couldn't. If they could have made Transformer movies in the 80s, they would have, but they didn't have the technology, so they made them in the 2000s. So, yeah, so a lot of craziness with a lot of people attacking all the different studios and that for doing perfectly reasonable and, logical things. But, yeah, Mario made over 1 billion, 1,155 million. So it's made, where's my numbers? 518 domestic, which is really good. 637 international, 1,155 all up. So why did it do so well? Because I think they just stuck to the core material, like Sonic, after they tweaked it back to something that looked more like what it should have been. They're giving the audience what they want. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's tricky. You've got to keep with the times. You've got to be progressive. But at the same time, you can't alienate people by focusing on minorities that want representation as well, but they don't represent the majority, so the majority lose interest because they just want to see themselves on screen just like the minorities do. It's a very tricky thing to do properly and to get those balances right, where you've got representation, diversity, progress, but you're still entertaining the masses and maintaining the core integrity of the franchise and why it worked. So it's a very tricky thing, and a lot of people miss it because they have their own agendas, and a lot of people try to... It's just a mess. So I'm not surprised really that Mario did as well, because it's not trying to do anything else, and it's very simple and basic, and no one's being challenged by it, which is disappointing on some level, because if you want to be challenged, if you want something new or interesting, you want a spin, or you just want some progression, you're not going to get it with this sort of film. And I see a lot of people criticizing it. I haven't really looked at in depth the criticisms or why people didn't like it. Oh, that's right, because they stuck to some very patriarchal norms and did some things that they wanted to be progressive, and they rejected that. And I don't know if they just maintained what happened in the game, although the game was written 20, 30 years ago, or if they actually went backwards. I haven't looked at the movie. I haven't done enough research. I'm just talking about the dollars. And it's interesting. It's good for Hollywood that it's done this, money-wise. Not sure how Guardians 3 is going to go, because it's a darker film, apparently, and people don't like animal abuse, and apparently there's a lot of animal abuse in the film. And Marvel just is, not, the golden ticket it used to be. So we'll see where all that goes. I just had to comment on it because I thought it was interesting, and I like talking about stuff, so I do. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.